Where are you, Steve? There you go. Congratulations, Steve.
Thank you.
And everybody knows the number 3,000, but the fact that, you know, you're like Cal Ripken, to not miss a game during that whole time is a remarkable feat. So, congratulations.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
Coach, for you, for this another opening night for you, just how differently do you look at each year from year to year as you get older?
It's actually my second opening night here.
In general.
But yeah, no, you're speaking just as far as everyone's different. There's no question about that. I think the one thing that's consistent is some, you know, combination of enthusiasm, anxiety, you know, adrenaline, fatigue, like all these kind of a myriad emotions that you always have. And I think if the preseason were 2 more weeks, it'd be exactly the same. You know, you put time in and you're ready to find out more about your team, and try to remind yourself that it's a long season, and frankly, you know, everybody wants to win their opening game, particularly at home, but to also know, you know, to keep perspective, you know, on the fact that there's 82 games.
Quinn, obviously, in the offseason, you addressed a lot of needs, especially with length and defense. What are you looking for in this first half from the team on the defensive side?
That he's a unique defender. You know, we've got a number of guys that I think, you know, individually, they may not be what you would consider, you know, high-level defenders. But I think the emphasis is on, you know, it's not one-on-one, it's not 2-on-2, it is 5-on-5. And as you mentioned, being bigger, I think helps that. You know, we're the same in the center spot, but having more size across the back line, hopefully should, you know, there's different ways to protect the rim. And, you know, there's the rim protector that, you know, we know who those guys are in the league. But there's also, you know, being shifted and being ready to help. And one of the biggest things, frankly, you know, is our transition defense, which is something that's harder to work on, that really involves communication. So in addition to all the habits that you try to form, you know, and you want to become instinctive, I think that's something that will continue to grind on and train throughout the course of the season. But, you know, to your original point, having more size, it really helps with that. You know, even though Zach's 19, he's still 6'9", and we've got some other guys that can really spread out. But we have to be fundamentally sound, and that is a process. And you know, I'd like to think that we'll get better defensively as the season progresses as well.
Coach, before the first preseason game, I asked you about Zach, and you said that he wasn't all that nervous. He went out there and played, but now his family's here, and it is for real. Did you notice any change in his demeanor in the last couple of days that he's going to be out there and #1 pick?
You know, I'm aware of Zach as a member of our team, and you know, always conscious of those things. But I think he loves playing, and he's played in, you know, a highly competitive environment in Europe. This will be different for him. But per Lauren's question earlier, I think every opening night's a little bit different. But I feel like he's doing the same thing. His routine's the same. And, you know, we've worked on that from the beginning of the year, where he's, you know, his focus is on, you know, doing the work and playing, you know, his game, which is shoot when you're open. He doesn't need to make it more complicated than it is. And I think he's looking forward to playing. But I haven't asked him any more than I've asked, you know, Bogey or Trey or DeAndre. I think everybody's, you know, equally excited about the season beginning.
Coach,
we spoke to you before we spoke to Jalen yesterday, and in talking to him about this new contract and everything, he said that he's never had a coach believe in him as much as you have. What does it mean to have that kind of impact on a player like that?
Frankly, it's everything. You know, it's it makes me emotional when I hear it, because it's something that's important to me. And when you have guys that trust you, you know, you believe in them, but they believe you too. And that's not always telling them the easy things. You know, you're telling them things that are sometimes hard to hear. And he's been so coachable. You know, our first preseason game, I think it was like 4 minutes into the game, and I called timeout and I jumped him about taking a bad shot. You know, and knowing everything that's going on. But that's our relationship. And, you know, more often than not, you know, I'm challenging him to do something, or encouraging him, or complimenting him. And there's no question I do believe in him. And I believe in, as much as anything, the fact that I know he's going to continue to work. I think the contract is great. It's representative, not only what he's done, but what he's capable of doing. And he's someone that, you know, I don't think is going to be satisfied. And he knows not every game is going to be a good game. He's going to have his struggles, and that's when you need it. I think as a coach, as much as anything, that's when you need to be there for him. And to tell him it's going to be all right, but also to tell him what he needs to do better. And the fact that he's not only willing, but willing to embrace that, says a lot about him as a player and a person. You know, frankly, I'm flattered, honored that he would say that. It's a privilege to coach him.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you guys.